Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is that you're joining me for this video. Thanks once again for clicking on the PenBoyRoy Fountain Pen Review channel. The subject of today's video is the ystudio Classic Portable Fountain Pen. Before I get started, please be sure to check out my sponsor, Pen Chalet, over at penchalet.com. Every time you buy from the Pen Chalet website using coupon code GOODWORDS, you will get an extra discount on all products with some exclusions applying. It helps me out by making Ron, the owner over at Pen Chalet, see that he is spending good money on this channel. So, check out the description below for important information to assist you in your pen hunting journey. Also, don't forget to check out the PenBoyRoy Pentertainment podcast, where my co-host Tom, the Odd Oink, and I discuss and banter about the fountain pen hobby. Just be forewarned, it's not for children. You have been warned. The ystudio brand was founded in the year 2012 in Taiwan. Their design studio believes in the value of simplicity when it comes to design and form. They also believe in making marketing videos that make you want to cry and hug everyone you love, and then buy their pens. It's really smart, actually. The brand likes to make their pens out of copper and brass so that it will not only last forever, but also patina and change color over time, making each pen unique to each owner. So, basically, as time passes, if you sweat a lot, your pen will look different than someone who is chronically dehydrated. The slogan of the brand is, "The weight of words." And this is meant to describe the power and meaningful effect that writing can have in a person's life. It can help people cope with loss, communicate with loved ones, enable a person to forgive oneself in the face of regret, as well as tell someone to die in a ditch. With something as important as the weight of words, the ystudio brand believes it is equally important to provide people with a writing instrument that makes the writer feel a genuine connection between their thoughts and paper. Enter the ystudio Classic Portable Fountain Pen. This pen is offered in different finishes and nib sizes and is, as stated before, designed to be your vehicle to transport your thoughts from your squishy noodle to paper. That's all I have for the background information. Moving on to the neutral zone. Those elements about the pen that are neither good or bad, or can be good or bad, depending on you. The nib is a stainless steel No. 5 size nib, branded and made by Schmidt in Germany. There's some classic looking scroll work on the shoulders of the nib. There is no breather hole, and where there would be a breather hole is the nib size. Underneath that is the brand name and iridium point. The feed is a small plastic feed that looks like those used in Yovo nib units. The nib and feed are friction fit into a nib unit housing that is fixed into a round, tapered section made of copper. The section threads begin with an O-ring and has a brass collar to house the included push-in-style ystudio branded converter. The rest of the barrel is a hexagonal copper barrel that reminds me a lot of an old-school wooden pencil. On the tail end of the barrel is the brand logo and the brand name etched into the copper. The end of the barrel is flat with a machined circular copper plug. The cap is the same design and shape of the barrel, with the only exception being in the ringed finial design to tie the included leather bondage straps into. If you have two of these pens, you can make a really expensive pair of skinny nunchucks. The pen was packaged nicely in this outer plastic wrap. Remove that wrap, and you have a cardboard box with the brand motto, as well as the type of pen included in the box. Remove that box and you have another box, black in color, with the brand logo in gold, and some Chinese writing that is apparently pronounced Wu Wei. I think it translates to something to the effect of out of this world or outside of things in physical existence. Or it could be their brand name. Yeah, that makes better sense. Open up the lid and you are greeted with an information and instruction booklet. Underneath the booklet is your pen, resting in a foam cutout. Also included are a pair of black and brown leather bondage straps that I mentioned before, and a nunchuck handle plastic case that you can actually store your pen in during your travels. That's all I have for the neutral zone. Moving on to the good. Those elements about the pen that are good. I like the way this pen writes. I didn't actually think I would because of how thin the section is. And let me tell you, the section is thin. When writing with this pen, my thumb makes contact with my index finger makes contact with my middle finger, and my middle finger makes contact with my thumb. It's that thin. But having said that, It didn't take long at all to get used to it, and once I did, I found that writing was fun. I do like the wetness and smoothness that the writing experience offers. There's a soft feedback to the nib, yet remains smooth at the same time. The ink flow is moderate and in the middle of wet and dry. It's a good writer. When it comes to the balance, obviously, this pen is not postable. Normally, when a pen cannot be posted, I don't like having the choice taken from me. But in the case of this pen, not being able to post the pen comes from the design, which is a big part of the appeal and therefore, to me at least, is acceptable. Plus, I think that the balance of the pen as it is just perfect. I really like the build quality. In the hand, the pen is solid and dense feeling. The hexagonal edges are smoothed out so not to feel sharp, and the flat sides feel nice when gripping. Aesthetically, it's a cool looking pen with a modern artsy design that at the same time feels like something that would have made me the cool kid when I was back in school. I also love how snappy and clicky the capping is. It's one of those snap caps that has a super satisfying snap when capping it. When it's capped, it also feels secure and tight. Let me also touch on the presentation. I know it doesn't affect the way the pen writes at all, but I really appreciate the thought that went into the packaging, from the plastic wrapping, to the stitching on the information booklet, to the inclusion of the nunchuck handle carrying case. Everything feels so very well thought out. And it's clear from the start that the brand wanted you to experience this pen in a positive way from the moment you receive the pen to the moment you finish writing with it. So despite the brand's driving concept of the power of simplicity, they went through a maze of decisions to bring you a Zen-type pleasurable experience. That's all I have for the good. Moving on to the bad. Let's talk coin. This pen has an MSRP of $199.95. With retailers here in the US, such as my sponsor Pen Chalet, you can score this pen for $159.99. Now, although this pen sports a smaller number 5 size nib, considering the material and build quality, I think that's not an unfair price. On top of that, its relevance is even more important nowadays considering it is made of an antimicrobial material. Speaking of which, stay tuned for my upcoming pandemic pens video where I show you my top picks of antimicrobial pens to use during the pandemic. That's all I have for the bad. Moving on to the ugly. Those elements about the pen that should not be, but are. The only thing I can touch on here is something I mentioned in the neutral zone as well as in the good. First, I always like to clean my pens thoroughly. And in order to do that, oftentimes I unscrew the nib unit from the section because in the process of filling a pen, ink can get caught between the nib unit housing and the section. Over time, this can possibly turn into a plastic eroding toxic buildup that's impossible to clean unless you can unscrew the nib unit. Now, I understand that the nib unit housing was fixed in place to ensure that the nib lines up with the logo on the barrel, and I know I'm being real nitpicky here, but I actually thought it was worth mentioning. Second thing is in the section. Although I got used to how thin it is, this is something that could definitely be a deal breaker for some. That's all I have for the ugly. It's high noon. Decision-making time. Should you or should you not pull the trigger on the ystudio Classic Portable Fountain Pen? I really do enjoy this pen. I can honestly say it's not for everyone though. As much as I love it, I can see why the thin section could turn some people off with how thin it is. For every person that can get past how thin the section is, I'm sure that there's a person that can't. But I also believe that the design is really cool, and once someone holds this pen in their hands, they will feel the appeal and really enjoy this pen. But again, they have to be able to get past how thin the section is. And if you can get past that, then everything after that is just gravy. Now, let's say you love thin pens, then, well, this is a no-brainer. With everything it offers, from the presentation to the included accessories, to the form factor, to the writing experience, I think that there is a lot here for the money, including the fact that it's a pen that is now, more than ever, appropriate for taking to work with the presence of a stupid virus causing a global pandemic. As this pen is made entirely of copper, and as I said before, copper is an antimicrobial material. That was my review of the ystudio Classic Portable Fountain Pen. I hope you found it helpful. Thanks again for watching. Love you guys. Be well, be safe.